And it's a delight to have you once again on Atlantic Television, Sports Central with Praise Alonge. And on the show, we would have a special guest from the United Kingdom. You want to know, he is a football intermediary, all right? The one we call in Nigeria a football agent. He's based in United Kingdom. He will be joining us live to share his thoughts about the challenges and also the opportunities that lies with, of course, having an agent and also footballers or aspiring footballers actually getting a chance to understand their obligations and how green is the pastures over there in Europe and every other part of the continent. Because I tell you what, a lot of young players will tell you, I'm very good. I play for my primary school. I play for my secondary school. I play at university or tertiary institution. And now I want to take it further. Even without playing for the Super Eagles of Nigeria or the national team or any of the under 17 or under 20 team, both for the male and the female category, saying, we are good enough. We are going to Europe. We want to go play football. Everything you need to know about the possibility, what you need to learn, what you need to know. You just have to wait for the live interview from United Kingdom. But before we touch on that, let's talk about the matches that were played in the UEFA Champions League on Wednesday night. And just so to add that, of course, we'll see already completed clubs that will be playing at the knockout stages of the UEFA Champions League for this year. Also tonight, the UEFA Europa League matches will be live, and it's going to be match day 6. That is the final round of matches. Also in the UEFA Conference League, we also have matches built for tonight. But I will go through the results that came out and allow you to also know the teams that have progressed to the knockout stages of the UEFA Champions League. So let me take it from Tuesday, where Porto beat Atletico by 2-1. Liverpool also won against Napoli 2-0. Leverkusen 0. Club Brugge 0. While Rangers won. Ajax 3 in their game. Other matches saw Bayern beating Inter by 2-0. The only side to finish the group stages with all wins, in all their games. I mean, they play 6 games, and guess what? They got 18 points, and that's just super. Watch out for Bayern in the next stage. Pleasant, that's Victoria Pleasant, lost to Barcelona 2-4. Sporting CP lost 1-2 to Eintracht Frankfurt, while Marseille won Tottenham 2 at the end of the day. And so that's it for Tuesday matches. On Wednesday, Real Madrid walloped Celtic by 5-1. Shakhtar Donetsk 0, Leipzig 4, AC Milan 4, Salzburg 0, Copenhagen 1, Dortmund 1. Manchester City also beat Sevilla by 3-1, while Chelsea edged Dynamo Zagreb by 2-1 in their game. Other matches saw Juventus 1, Paris Saint-Germain 2, Maccabi Haifa 1, Benfica 6. And what it means is Benfica tops, that group. But that's it for the matches that were played, and straight to, of course, teams that have progressed when it comes to the UEFA Champions League to the knockout stages. I did mention that we now have teams that will be participating in the draw. Well, we have some seeded teams and some teams are not seeded. The seeded teams are teams that actually progress by winning their group stages. Why? For teams that are not seeded, they are the teams that finished, runners up in their group. So that's it about the seeding. And so for the group winners, they are the seeded teams: Bayern, Benfica, Chelsea, Manchester City, Napoli, FC Porto, Real Madrid, and Tottenham. And for the group runners-up, the unseeded teams: Club Brugge, Dortmund, Eintracht Frankfurt, Inter Milan, Leipzig, Liverpool, AC Milan, and then Paris Saint-Germain. So that's it. I will wait for the draw. November 7 will be the night to decide who will be meeting themselves. Also, we have in the UEFA Champions League, just so you know, that Mbappe leads the pack when it comes to goals scored so far, and is the youngest to reach 40 goals. Just 23 years, 10 months, and 13 days. Lionel Messi is second, Raul Gonzalez third, Karim Benzema fourth, and Cristiano Ronaldo fifth. But he's just one player that have actually taken the world by storm once again in the UEFA Champions League. He leads in when it comes to top scorer in this edition. He scored 7 goals. Mohamed Salah also has 7. Mendy Taremi 5, Erling Haaland 5, and Robert Lewandowski 5. And away from the UEFA Champions League, just so I brushed through the matches built for tonight in the UEFA Europa League. Michelin will take on Stone Grass, Real Sociedad Manchester United, Feyenoord against Lazio, Karabag Freiburg. We see Olympiacos against Nantes tonight, Monaco, Red Star Belgrade, Transaspor Ferencvaros, Arsenal Zurich, Bodo Glimt and PSV, Dynamo Kiev, Fenerbahce, Rennes against Lakana, AS Roma, Ludogorets, Real Betis, HJK Helsinki, and other games we'll see. Braga take on Malmo, Y Union SG up against Union Berlin. Roma against Ludogorets also will be live. And finally, in the UEFA Conference League, we also have, games built for tonight in their final rounds of matches in match day 6. A lot of games actually to look forward to. And the lineup for the early kickoff between RFS against Fiorentina is out. Istanbul Basaksehir against Hart also. Later we'll see Slava Prague against Sevastopol, CF Cluj, Balkani, Ghent against Molde, Jogaden Shamrock Rovers will be live. Also Sagiris against Slovan Bratislava, Pionik Basel, Apollon Vados, AZMK against Dynamo, Dnipro against Dnipro, Hapoel Beersheva against Austria Vienna, Skelleborg against Anderlecht, FCSB, West Ham United, Lech against Villarreal, Apollon Vaduz. These are some of the games you just don't want to miss tonight. And Partizan up against Slovako, and then Cologne will take on Nice tonight in the round of matches. And yes, that's of course from the UEFA Europa League, UEFA Conference League, and also UEFA Champions League. And we'll go for a break now. When we come back from this, we'll bring in our guest. His name is Patrick from United Kingdom. And it's great to still know you're still watching Atlantic Television, of course, Sports Central with Praise Alonge. And it's time to bring in the big fish on the show. Is Patrick Ogbogu. Of course, is an FA licensed intermediary, has a master's in project management, and of course BSc in international football business and management. Also the founder of Young Stars Management Limited, an international football business and management agency. It's a delight to have you, Patrick Ogbogu. Welcome to Atlantic Television at this time. Yeah, hi, Mr. Patrick Ogbogu. Good to have you.
Hello, mate. How are you doing?
Very well, very well. I'm well. How are you doing as well?
I'm doing good myself. Thank you very much.
All right. We have Mr. Patrick Ogbogu. He's, of course, a player intermediary and is here to share some experiences on what we need to know about player intermediary. Let's get started, Mr. Patrick. What is player intermediary all about, basically?
Player intermediary is something you guys know in Nigeria to be called a football agent. Basically, you help represent players and get them football clubs, talk to the clubs about the players, handle their welfare as well, and basically the general welfare organization of the player. That's what an intermediary does. He's responsible for handling all those stuffs.
Basically, let's talk about this part. Do you think Nigerian players over time have taken the right opportunity in getting the right intermediary for them to get the best of clubs to play for?
That's a good question. Where it comes, when you say Nigeria players doing the right thing, it's not, I won't say them doing the right thing or them doing the wrong thing, because you can only do what's right in front of you. I believe most of the players nowadays, because they're so desperate to play for one of the best teams in the world, they tend to go with anybody that offers them any opportunity without diving deep to see if that opportunity is real or not. And because of that, they get exploited. So For me, I would say education is very important for the young players in Nigeria to understand what's happening and to know that the person who you're talking to actually has your interest at heart, because so many people are out there just trying to make money for themselves. They're ready to take money from these people. I've had lots of people come to me say agents have taken money from them to try get them into clubs and things like that. From my perspective, intermediaries are not supposed to take money from people. If a player is very good and the player would be taken by any club abroad, then that club would be ready to foot those bills. They wouldn't ask the player to pay any money. You see what I'm saying? So, but where people in Nigeria are desperate, people go to them and tell them, okay, if you pay me X amount of thousand and I'll take you to America, I'll take you to London and you play for this team. And at the end of the day, none of that thing is real, because for you to play for any team, it's just like every other job. It's like you can't go into a big company and ask to be the manager without having no experience, without having no CV, without having shown what you're able to do. So
your capacity.
Yes, you need to be able to demonstrate those things. So what I say to Nigerian players is, if you want to go abroad, if you want to play in a team, the first thing you need to do is be the best you can in what you're doing. So if you say you are the best, for example, are you the best in your town? Are you the best in your city? Do anybody know about you? Because if they don't know about you, then you're definitely not the best. Yeah. So, and if you are the best in your school, then your town should be asking about you. And if you're the best in your town, then your state should be asking about you. And if you're the best in your state, then your country
should be asking about you.
You see what I'm saying? And then
there's a progression. There's a progression in that.
Yes, there is. There's a clear progression, but so many people are trying to go the fast way and they don't have that progression. And it's easy for everyone to say, oh, I can take you abroad. And don't get me wrong, there's so many people that can take people abroad. But if I say out of the 100% of people that have said that, and only 1% may have gone actually to a proper football club. Most of them have just lavished away in Europe or ended up not doing what they've come to do, which is not the right thing. And that, in my opinion, I feel that's why education is very important for these guys, for them to know what they're doing, for them to be aware that it's not just going to be a quick fix. You have to be the best in what you're doing. If you want to be playing for any of the big clubs, you have to be the best and actually be the best, not just word of mouth.
You emphasize the place of education. And I mean, you understand our system here in Nigeria, basically. At what level of our educational system can we inculcate some of this knowledge to young players? Is it in the academies? Is it when they are just coming up? Or probably when they are already, made in their own frame of mind and they just want to travel? At what point do you inculcate this education into them?
I would say, for Nigeria's perspective, where it's a very, very big country, and I know the situation in the country as well. It's not easy for everybody. Not everyone is even educated, but the first place it should start should be in the football academies. Not even just in Nigeria, in Europe as well. There's a big problem with education because so many of these young stars are not educated. They don't know about say what happens if they're not able to make it in football. So I'll give you statistics. Say about 1% of the academy players in England represent the Premier League. So if you see that, so there's lots of children playing football every Saturday, every day in England. But even from the academy setup, only 1% tend to make it to the Premier League. You can check the history, you can check the clubs as well. You can see how the movements work. So if only 1% is making it, then you see how hard it is for other people to make it. So where education comes in is that letting these people know that football is not the be it all, end it all. Okay, so you have to actually be doing something else while you're preparing for your football. Yeah, you have to either be educating yourself in doing, say, being an engineer or whatever you want to do while playing. Football is kind of like a hobby to an extent, and if you can see it like that, then put in extra work to be a professional. That's good. Don't throw away other eggs. Don't say, oh, I'm going to be a footballer and that's going to be it. It's not going to, may not happen that way.
Now, Mr. Patrick, sorry, I just have to cut you here because that seems to be a problem in Nigeria where some of these agents, even the professional agents now, and also those that always claim to know clubs, in Europe, one way they get Nigerians to believe that they will get a club outside the country is always telling them that they can travel out and get a club. You just mentioned 1% in academy
Yes.
in United Kingdom. Uh, that's like 99%, just trying to do something else or still hoping to be a professional footballer. But here, they always tell them that once you travel outside the shore of this country, there are clubs waiting for you. What would you say to Nigerians in that situation?
You see, with all these kind of situations, there's never right or wrong. It's all about being aware. So what the agent is saying in that essence is, okay, I'm going to take you to abroad and you're going to make it. It's not going to be the case in every situation. But for example, the way I work, if I came to someone in Nigeria and the person wanted to go abroad, I'll first ask for their CV. I want to see where you've been. I want to see what you've done. I want to see how much football you've played, what you were doing last year. If you say you're a striker, how many goals did you score in your last club? What kind of players are playing there? So that will help me determine where to take you. So, for example, if you are not playing for Nigeria national team or you have not represented Nigeria at any level, I will never offer you to come to England because it's not going to work. England, they will not give you work permit for that because you've not represented your country. You have to actually be the best because they'll tell you England is number 1, 2, or 3 in the world when it comes to football. So if you are not the best in your country and your country is about 100 or something, then how are you going to be one of the best in our country? Do you see what I'm saying? So England,
Absolutely.
that's one of the rules to be able to play in English Premier League. You need to have represented your country for a certain amount of time so that you can be deemed an exceptional talent. Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah, but for other countries, say Eastern European countries, Sweden, Denmark, all those places, those Scandinavian countries,
Scandinavian country.
yeah, where their level of football is not as high as England, it's easy for someone to go from, say, Nigeria, go in there and find a football club and play there. But while you're playing there, if you are the best there, you may be,
Then
you may be taken to one of the best teams in that country, and then you play in Europa League or Champions League or Europa Conference League.
Conference
Then
League.
the Premier League sees you, a Premier League team sees you and say, "Oh, this guy is a brilliant player." Then they come in for you. Do you see what I'm saying? In that case, it's different. So that's possible. But if they're selling that to the majority of people in Nigeria, it's not going to work because it's not going to happen. So, and I've seen so many situations where people come to from Nigeria and they come abroad and they're not able to make it, and then it's final for them because they don't have no option. You see, so they just live here without having documentations or things like that, and start and lose their football dreams. So I would say my advice to Nigerians would be that if you want to go abroad and you want to play, be honest with yourself, check yourself, make sure you're the best player you are, and then don't start pointing at England and Spain and Italy.
Germany.
You know what I'm saying? Don't point at
Those
those
top
top.
top European countries.
Yeah. Then if you are able to get to one of the lower European countries and make your way and fight your way, then that's fine. You have a big chance to make it. Like we've seen so many of our brothers make it through that route. So me, that's the best way I think it would be for anyone who wants to come from Nigeria to make it here.
I think you've answered the next question I actually have. But and it's about what is responsible for our Nigerian players not really making it to top European clubs. I think you've shed light on it. If there's one or two other things you would like to add to that,
There's
is it
quite a
that
few.
we are not good enough? Basically, is it that we are not good enough?
We are not good enough.
That's just
No,
a
no,
simple
no,
way to
no.
put it, isn't it?
That's not it, to be honest. Look at our team in 1994 and
Okay,
96. We had very good players. We
correct.
still do have very good players, but you're not going to be the best in the world. You're not going to play in the best league in the world if you're not the best. You have to ask yourself a question. Is Nigeria in the World Cup?
Absolutely no this time around.
Great. And I think the last 2 World Cups or so, Nigeria was not in the World Cup as well. So if
Yeah,
you
in
go
2006 we missed out on.
So judging by those kind of situations, a lot of Nigerian players should not be in the top league.
I see.
Yeah, because that is the competition where top players play, right?
Correct.
So it comes down to the government. It comes down to what we do back home, like the government, how they package our football, how the football development is back home. So if we're not able to win national Africa's Nations Cup or qualify for the World Cup, then we are not going to attract. Clubs are not going to be attracted to our players. That's the stage where you want to play against the world best and show the world best what you're capable of doing. And if you go to a World Cup and show the whole world what you're capable of doing, then all the teams in Europe will be coming in for you.
That's actually answered. Let's talk about contractual obligations now that are always in these terms for players. All right, we see some of these foreign players, most times quite easy for them to understand. In our own case, like you mentioned earlier, our system, our society, the level of education and all is more like still all-time low for these players. How would you advise some of our professionals, even from maybe our local scene here, and those anticipating to travel to play abroad? How would you advise them to take their contractual obligations, the understanding of it, seriously?
I think it's key. It's very, very key. So many young players suffer from that because they don't understand what the contract is about and things like that. I've had an issue with players in Nigeria as well, even representing Nigerian national team. And then you ask for a free player, they tell you the player is free, but the player is only free until until an offer comes in. So, but these are the kind of things that players should be educated about. Why should someone be signing you up with no offer, with nothing on the table? Why should a man be in charge of your destiny? Yeah, so I'll explain that to you. So a club has come in for a player, and then you've gone for the player, and then the player is telling you that, oh, my manager said that this has to happen. But a minute ago, you said you were a free player. Yeah,
I see.
So
Extortion.
in that case, I've seen so many players being controlled by people that are not actually agents. I don't know what their role is, but they say they own that player. But I don't know how you can own a player because he's his own self. If you have a contract with the person, it should be for a certain amount of time. And if the contract is over, then the player becomes free, right?
Correct.
So in that case, I think our youth and our young people in football should not just jump into signing agreements or taking maybe 1,000, 5,000 from people here and there or football boots and saying, oh, because of that, you're my manager. And giving us, because of that, says things like that, they've lost opportunities. So when you come for a player and the manager decides to say, I don't want him to go because of this, you're not going to pay this X amount of money. But then that player is a free player. He's not doing nothing in Nigeria. If you let him make this move, this may be life-changing for both of you, but you're not going to do it because the manager is feeling, oh, this is my player. And I've seen this happen quite a lot. And this is one of the reasons why I find it difficult trying to work with people directly in Nigeria, because there was a player in Nigerian team. I got him the offer to play in a team in Austria called SK Rapid. At the time, they played in Europa League. And prior to this engagement, the player was every time telling me I'm a free player. There's nothing as soon as the club wants me. And obviously, the information I have is what I have to share with the team.
Exactly.
So the team has come to me asking me for free players, and I've shared them your information as a free player. Yeah. So now they've come back to me to say, okay, I want this player. They've given me an invitation and everything. That can this player come over?
Come around?
But then, yeah. So now I've told the player that, look, we've got you an offer. This is what's on the table. They need to see you. They're going to pay everything for you to come. But then the player turns back to me to say, oh, my manager said I cannot come. I'm like, why does your manager? Yeah, because I have to play for one match against Kano Pillars or one of. I said, but a minute ago you told me you were a free player, and so that's how we dangled the thing over. And okay, I was able to go back to the team, made one or two excuses to say, okay, we're going to have to postpone this for a week or two. That was agreed. That was agreed. Yeah, and still, at that time, there was two problems with the manager in Nigeria. So I don't know what his problem is. I don't want to start name calling, but up until now, the player still remained in Nigeria. At the time we were speaking, this guy played for, I think, under 19s, and he was one of the best. Like, he was one of the best players in the team. So I can give you a little clue. He was a defender. He was a defender. Yeah, he was a defender, and obviously, if he's watching this or if he's seen this, he will know who I'm talking about as well, because he never made it. The team was called SK Rapid in Austria, And at the time, they were playing Europa League. And my idea for him was that, look, if this team comes for you, even if they're offering nothing, you're a young boy, go there, show them what you can do.
And progress
Yes,
from there.
play in the Europa League, get your name out, and then they're going to be begging us for you to stay. Do you see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But even I spoke to the manager person in Nigeria, and I said to him that, look, I'm not going to be making anything from this transfer. I don't want to make anything from this transfer because at the moment, this player, this is an opportunity for him to get there. We need him to get there, and then we can start making something from it. But the guy was adamant that he needed to collect X, Y, Z, and blah blah blah. But where I have already told the team he's a free player, I cannot go back to the team to say he cost this amount of money.
I get you.
So yeah, and there's other issues as well. But the key is for our players to understand what they're getting into. Try to understand what you're getting into. Don't just get into it because Sir has promised you a pair of new boots. How much are those boots going to be worth in 5 years' time? Don't just get into it just because he's going to give you some money for today. Yeah. So you need to think about what you're doing. Make sure that people you're getting involved with are real people. And lastly, don't believe that you have to pay money to be scouted. If you are very good, as you say you are, then you will be scouted with luck. Everybody needs that luck. Yeah. But that money you're paying, if that person believes you're very good, he's not going to take that money from you because he's going to want you to give him a bigger share of the cake later on.
In the future time.
If he don't believe in you and he thinks you're wasting his time, he's going to ask you to pay money for it. And then he's just going to take your money for that. So we need to be educated. We need to not rush it. And it's not the beat or end it all. You may come here, you may never still make it in football. So many people play football here and they don't make it. So always have a backup plan. Try and get as much education as possible. And most importantly, you have to keep working very, very hard in football as well.
Well, Mr. Patrick, I want to beg for something. If we can still have you another time, I mean, to share more light, because we would also talk about, African players. Personally, it pains me to see some of our African players not well valued when it comes to what they give. A good example is Sadio Mane when he was with Liverpool, before he moved to Bayern Munich. I mean, he wasn't as well paid as his colleagues. So many other Nigerian players and African players and all. I would like you share light, another time, because we actually pressed for time now. Okay. I hope I can have you again so that we can have more conversation about this and enlighten a lot of Africans and also Nigerian players on what they need to know about having the best of agents and also their obligations to clubs.
Sure, that was great. I'm happy to help whenever I can. Nigeria is my country as well, and I want the best for all Nigerians. And yeah, just let me know when the next meeting is going to be, and I'll make myself available and we can have a discussion.
So thank you so much for making your debut here. I hope to constantly, over time have you do join us on Atlantic Television and also on Sports Central.
Thank you very much, Atlantic Television, for having me. Thank you, Nigerians. Make sure you do your research. Don't rush. God's time is the best, and do your hard work. Yeah.
Oh, God's time is the best. Thank you so much.
And that's the size of the show for this time. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. But don't forget, you can always be part of the conversation by going to our social media platform to add your voice to all the conversation. Make sure you like, follow, and also share all our posts and of course our contents on our social media platform. And a special thank you to Patrick Ogbogu, an FA licensed intermediary who joins us on the show to share some thoughts about what players need to know when it comes to players intermediary and also their club obligations when they are looking for opportunities to play football as a professional. A lot of lessons in that clip there. Make sure you watch, also share, and give out to promising and also talented players who are looking for opportunities. And I do trust that Patrick Ogbogu will join us once again